I thank the gentleman for yielding. I want to talk a little bit more about our policy because I said before that I think it's the policy that gets us into these predicaments, and that if you deal with this as a strictly technical, tactical problem that we have to face and how to rectify our problems, I don't think it will occur. I think we have to deal in the overall policy. In many ways, we follow a schizophrenic type of foreign policy because one time our best friends, they're our best friends, and then later on they become our worst enemies. This was true with Saddam Hussein. In the 80s, he was our friend, and we took care of him, and we sent him and encouraged him, supported his war. And then, of course, that changed. But even right before 9/11, the Taliban was still receiving money from us. And now they receive money from us indirectly. The Taliban gets money from the Pakistanis, or at least information, as has been reported. But they literally get some of our money in the process, because in order for us to move equipment through Afghanistan, literally they end up getting American dollars doing this. So here we are going into Pakistan, and one of the arguments that go into Pakistan is that we have to go after the Taliban, that they're over there and they're organizing and they want to kill the American soldiers in Afghanistan. So this means that now they're our arch enemies. But the Taliban, especially in the 80s and the 90s, or in the 80s, they weren't called the Taliban, but they were called the Mujahideen, and it was a precursor. But they were our best friends, along with Osama bin Laden. And we were allies with them because we supported the principle that it was wrong for the Soviets to be occupying Afghanistan. But now the tables have turned, and now we're the occupiers, and now the very people that used to help us are now shooting and killing us. And now it's been revealed just recently with this release of information that they actually have some Stinger missiles. And it has, in the last month or so, 3 of our helicopters have been shot down. So where does this all end? One thing about the reports in the newspaper, I think if they change the definition or the use of one term, I think it would change everybody's attitude. If people came around to believing that the Taliban are people who aren't dedicated toward coming over here to kill us, like some of the Al-Qaeda are, but the Taliban are only interested in getting rid of the occupiers of their country. So we call them militant. So we go in and we raid and shoot and kill and bomb, and then we say, aha, we killed 37 militants today. What if we reported this always, like we did in the 80s? What if we always reported...
Ms. expired.
One more minute.
I yield the gentleman. Another minute.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 1 minute.
What if it was always reported that freedom fighters were killed, as it was when they were our friends and our allies? The whole thing would change. But no, we call them militant and we call them insurgents, but they were formerly our allies and our so-called friends. So this is just a reflection on the ridiculousness of our endless policy of intervention, and how so often our allies and our friends turn against us, and how our money, taxpayers' money, so often is used against us. I think this is a perfect example. We'd like to stop it. That's why we brought this resolution up. We don't want to see this war spread, and we want the American people to know about it, and we want this Congress to know about it, because foreign policy isn't even written in the Constitution. The responsibility of how we run our foreign affairs is with the U.S. Congress, and when we go to the war, it should be a congressional function, not an executive function. And someday we may get there, but right now, today, we have to do our very best to let people know the shortcomings of the policy we're following in Pakistan.
I ask a recorded vote.
Does the gentleman ask for the yeas and nays?
Yes.
As the yeas and nays are requested, those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. Sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. On this vote, the yeas are 38, the nays are 372, 4 members voting present. The resolution is not agreed to.